everyone's so overstimulated, so overwhelmed that they forget to listen to their gut, but that's really your body and your subconscious showing you how you feel.
And then they take all the supplements and maybe they're even on medications, but they still don't respect their own body. All the disease that I see, there's some form of not listening to your body, disrespect for your boundaries, not setting boundaries at all, and it has to go somewhere. You know, in physics we say energy can't be created and can disappear magically, so it has to go somewhere.
I have a woman on my podcast today who is arguably one of the most beautiful doctors on the internet, Dr. Elena. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Please tell everyone who you are and why you are the way you are.
Wow, I'm still figuring that out. Just a heads up. So follow me along because I feel like we all do that, right?
For sure.
Like it's always a piece in time. Like, who am I today? So today, right now, as I'm present here, I'm a doctor, I'm a mom. I'm actually a best-selling author in Germany. I'm an Instagram, how do you call it? Creator. Yeah, maybe a creator. And the main word I think is really like creator influence in the best sense, I think. And why am I who I am? That's a very long story. But I think it's all the small pieces in life. And in the end, I think when you step back and when you look at it, it makes sense. But it's not a one single event in my life that I would say this is why I am who I am. It's just the massive bouquet of stuff that I've done and the lives that I've lived, because I feel like I'm on my 7th life or something. Right? Like when we look back,
7th life, 7th astral plane.
Yes.
Or, there's 7 astral planes. So that's actually funny that you use the number 7.
And I think what's more interesting is or what I would also ask you, what's your tikkun? Because I know you're into Kabbalah. I'm also very much into Kabbalah. So when I meet new people, I also want to ask them, what's your tikkun? Because we get so caught up in roles. Like, I'm a daughter, I'm an ex-wife, I'm a mother, I'm a doctor, and I'm a best friend to somebody. That's all roles. Mm-hmm. And when you strip all that away, who are you?
Yeah, that's why I always ask women when they're here, who are you and why are you the way you are? Because what you're doing is more than just, in my opinion, educating women. You're helping them see things from a different perspective, not just the typical science that you learned growing up, but how to see education and health and gut and hormones from a female perspective. I actually stopped going to male doctors, not because I don't like male doctors. I just personally believe female doctors, female nurses, female injectors, they know the female face better than a male would.
Yeah.
Same thing with the gut microbe and, all these things that are female reproductive systems. What I've seen a lot on the internet, gut health, right? It's become a trending word, but it's not a trending word.
No.
Quite the contrary.
It's very essential. It's super essential. And gut health for me is also intuition, right? We always say the gut is the second brain. We have basically almost as much nerve endings or cells in the nervous system of our gut than we have in our brain. So gut health for me always has to be connected with the nervous system. And nervous system is something I've been into for the last few years because of my personal background, because of my personal suffering, I might say, during my divorce and even before that. When you can't live your authentic life, when you're trapped, it displays in your gut. So there are different aspects to gut health, because there's the one thing is the food we eat. It's the life we live. It's literally our nervous system, how we feel in our body. And this goes both ways. So it's not only information, the gut-brain axis is not in one direction, it's influenced in both ways. So how much do we respect our gut? Which I think is very interesting when you look into these topics and you realize I can actually influence that. I don't know if you realize some days you feel bloaty and gassy and horrible and you're like, where am I on my cycle? This doesn't make sense. What did I eat? And you realize you're with a person you really don't like. You meet with them and you think there might be a friend, but your whole body's screaming at you I hate this situation. I want to get out of this. I'm stressed by it, and it slows down your gut motility. It impairs your digestion. You literally can't digest the situation.
I think a lot of women forget too that emotions spiritually and Kabbalistically are thoughts in motion.
Yeah.
That's what it quite literally means to
Yes.
have emotions. But everyone's so overstimulated, so overwhelmed that they forget to listen to their gut. But that's really your body and your subconscious showing you how you feel.
Yes. And then they take all the supplements and they take all the, how you want to say, like all the hormone stabilizers and this, and maybe they're even on medications, but they still don't respect their own body. And for all, like, I dare to say, for all the disease that I see, there's some form of not listening to your body, disrespect for your boundaries, not setting boundaries at all. And it has to go somewhere. You know, in physics, we say energy can't be created and can disappear magically, so it has to go somewhere. And if it's that negative energy, it also has to go somewhere, where we come back to the vessel. Like, it's not gonna magically leave you. You have to transform it or release it or give it to somebody else. And that's what we see then, right? We snap at the kids or at the husband, or we're angry and we get road rage, or it goes somewhere, instead of being like, wow, this made me so angry and I feel really uncomfortable. How this friend talks to me is disrespecting me or is hurting me, or she's not even listening to me. And maybe it's not a friend. Maybe I feel obligated to meet that person because I've known her for 15 years. But this person is not good for me. And that's really hard, because it means losing friends, losing family, maybe losing a job even. But you have to start listening to your body and respect that, because you can't take all the glutamine in the world.
Correct.
If you're tense and clenched and stressed and you're permanently in a non-healing, I have to fight, flight, or fawn phase in your life, you're going to get sick, and you're going to get really sick.
I think a lot of women are starting to realize that they're in situations that may look or appear to be good, but they're not respecting how they feel in those moments. For example, one of my girlfriends, she moved into the Aston Martin building here in Miami, and the aesthetic of it is gorgeous. Everything looks beautiful. You would think that everything's great, but the building has a million lawsuits. There's mold. The people who are living there, the energy feels very chaotic. There's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of partying.
They have noise, like a lot of wind noise.
Correct. So what appears to be beautiful and look as if you're going to capture a feeling there, when you step inside, it's really the contrary. It feels like a vortex.
Yeah.
And when you are listening to yourself and you're listening to your body and you're realizing something's misaligned, your gut telling you something doesn't feel right here, even though it appears to be a certain way.
Yeah.
You could say the same for a lot of relationships, for a lot of people who are on the internet that look a certain way, and they might even be able to speak eloquently. But what are their real lives like? What are they acting like and feeling like in real time? And that's what we have to really gauge with our gut.
Totally. And that's also part of being your authentic self. And that's so hard. I know how hard it is. I wrote a whole book about it, when you're stuck in a life that doesn't feel like it's yours. Like in my book, I Know I Can, I talk about how I've always been the perfectionist, the overachiever.
What sign are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, I love that.
And I was always like ahead of everything, because it gave me a sense of control, right? You feel like you're in control, you are always the best. That's a very safe position to be in. And it's also an escape method, like it's a trauma response. Now I know that. And then you are always positioning yourself in a very stressful level of your life. And also what happens is that you construct this reality around yourself, which you think is the one that you need or that you should have. So I learned only through motherhood that this is not my true self. I was smart, so I was expected to be the smartest. I was sporty, so I trained so hard that I went to like the Bavarian the team and the national team even for a short while. And did I really want that? I just wanted to play on the weekends with my friends, like I don't regret it. It's been a great experience, but it's like, it's weird. And then you have to ask yourself, that career path, was that my voice? Did I want to be that? Like, I studied law before I studied medicine.
Oh, wow.
And I hate fighting. I hate fighting so much. I don't want to fight. I don't want to screw people over. I don't want to get in these kind of things. I'm such a peaceful person.
Yeah.
And it killed me. I lost so much weight in law school. I was so sad. I'm never sad. I'm a sunshine person. And then you're like, So my parents want me to be a lawyer, but that's not my path. And that was the first time in my life where I threw everything over. And then through motherhood, I realized I gave birth to the child, and there was so much anger in me that day when I gave birth. There's so much foreign expectations coming out of me. My midwife kept telling me I should be quiet and I have to keep it in because I'm scaring people with
Was
how
this in
loud
Germany?
I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
With how loud I was. And I didn't want medication. I didn't want that. And they kept trying to push that. And I was like, but I don't want that. And it was like this tornado of feelings boiling inside me while you're literally creating life. Like literally you're both in transition. Yeah, like your child is in transition into this world and you're in between. Like you're literally the portal.
Literally.
And you enter that portal and I realized I don't want to be all of this. I love being a doctor, but not the way that I am now. I don't agree with anything like that. I want to be a creator, but I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be the educator and the expert. And I want to show them my life. I want to, be authentic, not like, oh, in the book it says, because people can look in the book. But I want to tell them what I really think about it. So that
But
moment,
also doctors now know that nothing is true until it is observed.
Yeah.
So really, it's all through the lens of the person who is
Yeah.
observing the situation.
Totally. And that was like such a crazy moment because I realized I don't want to be any of this. This is not my opinion. These are not my fears. These are not my values. These are not my goals. Nothing of that. I plan to go back straight to work after 6 weeks maternity leave to pursue my career so I can have my specialization under 30. I don't even care about this. I was like, I don't care. And I embraced being a mom so hard. And then I shared my experiences in my book because I feel like as a woman, they pushed us like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like if you want to be successful, you have to have a career. You have to educate yourself. And that is still true. But do not pay the price that they want to sell it you for.
What did you feel that price was?
I felt like it was like not being a mom, not being feminine, not be a caretaker of a home. And like this is also part of being a woman, for me at least. I don't want to talk for everyone, but for me, I was in this conflict of roles. I was in trauma surgery, so they called me the trauma Barbie because I had to be tough all day. And I hated it. I loved the job in the ER and loved the rush, the dopamine, the caring, the immediate results. But I did it my way and I got mocked for it. So people like nurses would literally say, oh my God, she's on shift. She's going to try to talk that shoulder back into the joint. Because my method was making the person comfortable, making them sure of that we can do it together as a team.
Sure.
And they would relax and naturally, the head of the humerus would flop in again. Mm-hmm. And they would mock me for it.
But science now also proves that when you even speak to plants, that the plant energetically takes on that vibration. Water changes vibrations. When you speak to it negatively, it's more sharp and angular. When it's spoken to softly, it changes frequency. So neuroscience is actually shifting.
Yes.
Quite literally in real time, science and medicine and spirituality is being so severely tied to it, but it's impossible to ignore. So what you were doing was quote unquote ahead of the times, but you were really doing spiritual medical practice, not just medical practice. Mind you, it's called medical practice because it's a practice. So if you can incorporate spirituality into a medical practice, you're reinventing the word practice.
And the thing is, I got mocked for it, but my results were flawless. I had less complications because when you take force to reposition something, it can break, right?
Like anything in life.
Because you have to use more force to overcome the anticipatory fear of the person because they know it's going to hurt putting it back. So you have to be brutal. I don't want to be brutal. I want to be smart. I want to be like, okay, what's the problem? It has to go back in there. How can I do that? By releasing the muscle. And I don't want to give some young person muscle relaxant so they get addicted to it, and we know it happens like this. And I don't want to do this in its unnecessary burden for the liver. There are cases, okay, you have to do it, like huge bodybuilders or stuff like that. They literally can't relax. The muscle is shortened, like all of this. But the regular Joe that dislocates by falling or, by volleyball playing or has like some connective tissue problem that he or she didn't know of and it just flips out and you have to, flop it back. That works, but it takes maybe 10 minutes more. You need to make a connection to your patient. They have to trust you. You have to take the time. I did a lot of pendulum and all that stuff. And then in the right moment, when I felt like the people also with breath work, took
Beautiful.
a good moment, it would snap in and like, that was it. I was like, yep, go back to x-rays and we check if it's good. And I got mocked for it. I was like, what a leak of energy.
You know who talks about this all the time that you should actually connect with? You know the human garage?
No.
That
Oh,
did
yeah,
the jaw and
cracker.
everything?
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually crack. He speaks often to how muscle and fascia holds consciousness and energy.
100% fascia.
And we got into like a 3-hour conversation. He did a jaw release on me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much physical, it was emotional.
No,
for
it's
me.
a somatic release. Yeah.
It was, I mean, so many people were like, she's in pain. How could he keep doing this? I was like, trust me, I consented to it, A.
Yeah.
But B, the emotional release I received from that.
It's like a
Honey,
our
it was
body is like
it
a
was
computer,
unbelievable, but
you
it was the
know?
way he spoke to me, the way he explained it,
Yeah.
and the certain when it comes to ancient wisdom and modern practice.
Yeah.
And modern technology, blending the two together and understanding that muscle holds and fascia holds energy and consciousness.
And trauma.
So the way you were doing it, and trauma, the way you were doing it is speaking life and speaking consciousness
Yes.
into the patient's fascia,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes.
And energy to help release.
And you know, also, you have to touch the person. You have to literally touch the person, not in a creepy way, but you have to make a connection and you have to touch them.
Yeah.
Emotionally, you have to make a bond, because when we look back, who were healers? It was the most trusted, most connected, energetic person in the village, in, you know, whatever social community you were living in. It was a trustee, right? So now we try to industrialize it. In the 1800s, we industrialized medicine. We took it out of the community and put it in houses, and we didn't make the doctor come to the person anymore in an environment they feel safe and home. We took them out because it's more efficient. And I agree, like modern intensive care and all that stuff, it absolutely has their place. But Daisy starts at the base. Daisy starts in the everyday life. It's not the car crash. That's inevitable, okay. But most Daisy start slowly at home. So it's like I got laughed at, GPs get laughed at. They are the warriors of our society. Every GP holds the whole thing together. And
explain to everyone what that means.
it's like your general physician, the dude or the woman that knows everything about you, basically, that you go, it's your first line medical person you tend to, and or a nurse practitioner here in the United States could be the same thing. And what they do is basically they have the first contact with you, whatever happens to you. And right now we're still on the path of we're too late. All the medicine in the world focuses on we have to fix a problem, and it drives me crazy.
It's the worst.
It drives
Not how do we
me
start healing from the get-go.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yes.
But also it's, we live in a country which, God bless, there's so much opportunity here. And there's so much, especially for women, to be able to do what they want, have the careers, the families, whatever we choose. But when it comes to health and mental health, you really need to take it into your own hands.
Yeah.
You really need to be the one to say, okay, how can I be preventative? How can I
Yeah.
take care of my body today?
Yeah.
So that I'm not waiting till last minute calling you, freaking out
Yeah.
that my body's falling apart.
That's true. And then all the systems are already deranged. So ideally, in an ideal world, the GP would be somebody that gets the means from insurances and everything to be preventive. So that they actually sit down once a year and talk about, okay, what amnestic factors do you have in your family, in your health history so far? What are the potential dangers we're looking at? In aesthetic medicine, we do that all the time. Like I went to Congress in Monaco. You're like, oh, let's look at your mom. What problems does she have in her face? Is it like more, marionette face, or is it more sagging jaws or eyelid problems? So we can address this right now and focus our preventive aesthetic medicine in that direction for you. But we don't usually do that on the broad scale in general medicine, like in everyday medicine, which is crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So what I do on my account is like, I don't want to fearmonger, but I want to make people conscious of, why do you wait until you have weird bleedings, or, why do you wait until you gain 10 kilograms or 20 pounds? Like in the beginning, you have to catch whatever it is, or you prevent from being healthy and stable to going
Correct.
to, over
I did the Pronovo scan.
Oh, yeah. Did you like it?
And I was talking to the front desk. I was like, wow, this is absolutely brilliant. Like, I was blown away by it, truly. The technology, the whole experience was really cool for me. And I said to her, why is everyone not doing this? And she was like, Liz, my own mom won't even do this. I said, why? She was like, she doesn't want to know.
That's the thing.
She
People
doesn't
are
want to
scared.
know. And I know you know that as a doctor. People don't want to know.
It's driving me crazy.
I'm
I know
sure it is.
People are scared, but you know why? Because they're already here. they're already at their limit. They're holding it all together. The nervous system is literally already screaming. And why is that? One, because everything's too much. Like, we expect women to be mothers, wives. They have to have a full-time career, 40 hours a week, but they also have to be the taxi for the football, the soccer,
And
the
a friend,
ballet class.
and look good, and take care of their health.
It's not meant to be like that. You have 100% of your life. You need at least 25% just for yourself, which is not egoistic. It's necessary. And then you can split the rest up. And for a short time, like, okay, I'm building my career, or I have a newborn, or my husband is in the army, I have to go through 6 months without him. We can compensate, but after, it goes to our cost. So these people, they actually, everybody wants to survive. You know, it's an instinct. They know it would be a good thing to do. They know it would be a good thing to talk to a doctor, to see a specialist, but they're so scared because they can't take another thing in their life.
Yeah.
They cannot literally endure another bad thing, another bad news. They can't.
Yeah.
So the easier thing is to compartmentalize and be like, it's fine. Because the fact would be, I have a pap smear that's weird. I need a conization. Which is scary. I
Very,
know.
yeah.
It's super scary. But what's the consequence? If you don't do it, if you catch it in 5 years, it's cancer.
Oh, God.
So I know it's hard, and it goes back to what I'm doing is nervous system work, releasing the trauma from the body.
What kind of abnormal pap smear would lead to cancer?
Well, anything that is like HPV positive, or when you are borderline like a 3 or something, then you really want to be early. And by the way,
What's an early 3? What's a 3?
So, you have dysplasia and cells that are like not how they're supposed to be. And they also did a lot of new research there. So I have a lot of patients that actually get a high vitamin D treatment
Yeah, because women struggle with that, right? I'm on vitamin D.
Yeah, but it's like a local treatment. I'm not a gynecologist, so I reference them to very trusted doctors I have in Germany, for example, my patients. And they actually have like different therapeutical methods with vitamin D now. So they have like a high vitamin D local treatment of the cells. And sometimes that can even undo it. Sometimes it's stress. Like you go from a bad pap to a good pap in 6 months because you changed the stress, or you get a divorce, quite literally. You get the bad thing out of your life.
Or you get like a vaginal pro or prebiotic or
exactly,
something.
or you treat the HPV, or like it was just a infection and your body dealt with it, and then the next one is okay again. And that's important, and you want to know that, but you have to have the capacity for it. And I understand it, and that's why we need to be more empathetic, because people are turning to me, they're like, help me, I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, I understand. And I know she skipped on her skincare or a skin cancer screening. She skipped on her pap smears, her woman well exams. She did all that, but I can't confront her with that right now.
What
because
would you
she's
say?
Already, terrified.
She's already at her threshold.
Yes.
I'm going to give you what I would suggest, and I want you to dissect it. Obviously, you're the doctor. I always suggest to women to get 3 basic screenings at minimum.
Yeah.
Pronovo, full body, blood work, and then the gyno. That's for me like baseline. That's what I did this year and last year. Pronovo, blood, and gyno. What are your thoughts?
So I'm a big fan of democratizing medicine, because Pronovo is very pricey.
Yes, it's very pricey.
And we have to acknowledge that
I think it eventually will be free.
Yes,
eventually.
It should be. Governments have to rethink what they're doing, and they will for sure. But maybe for
I'd
some
rather
people
get
too
that
late.
scan than get my nails done or my hair done.
Very true. But there's some people, even they don't do that. They don't have the $2,000 at all. The single moms that don't get child support, that are struggling, that are being litigated for crazy reasons. They just don't have the money. They are already existing. They're not even living, they're existing. So what I always recommend is you have to have good labs. Not just the are you surviving labs, but you have to invest those $120 to get good labs.
And how do you do that?
So like what I do in Europe, I actually founded a company with some tech dudes, and we offered a home testing platform. So actually the mom that doesn't have the time to go to the doctor, she doesn't have the mental capacity to deal with all this, she can have a holistic lab in the convenience of her home. So we actually send out all the materials, the instructions, everything. She can do like a capillary blood draw with like a technology that we see here in the United States too. You just punch it in your arm, You watch Gilmore Girls for 10 minutes, you put it back in the envelope, and it goes to the lab, and then she gets like a AI supported workup of the thing. If she can't afford like a doctor to look at it, at least she has somewhere to start with. And then we recommend to go like Perplexity Health or Claude to help you guide through it. And while I warn people like don't trust AI fully as a doctor, it's never a doctor. But we have to understand there are people, they're living very different realities.
Absolutely.
And they deserve the good medical treatment too. Like, I will die on that hill. It drives me crazy. These women deserve to be treated well too. And that's a big thing already, because you see, how is my liver doing? How are my hormones doing? How am I metabolizing? Am I too acidic? You know, like we have the organic acids test where you see, is your mitochondria healthy? So maybe you need targeted mitochondrial supplements. Do you have a CMV, chronic Epstein-Barr virus or something like this, you know, that's modifying your immune system? Did you have 1,000 strep infections in your life and that pushed your Th1, Th2 ratio in a way that you don't really deal with pathogens, but you attack yourself, you end up in autoimmune disease. So these really good holistic lab tests are a must for me. Then I think the gyno is so important. It's just so important. Also for anxiety relief. Once you're there and once you're like, oh, my PAP is a 1 or 2, you know, like I'm good for 3-4 years, unless you have symptoms, of course, but it's going to give you...
I had BV when I first moved down here because my biomicrobiome wasn't used to the humidity, and I didn't know, and I had it for 3 months.
And it's
That's
like
crazy.
Inflammation, you know, it's inflammation. And sometimes it's even just one thing in the hot tub that has been chlorined so much.
Disgusting.
And then your microbiome is like dead, literally. And if you don't like reinitiate it, and or if you ate a lot of candy the other day and sweet stuff, so you had a lot of sugar in your blood, the yeast and everything's like,
Spiking.
Thank you, boom, because you don't have the good bacteria keeping it at gate. And so this is the second one. Gyno, please, even just self-exam once a month. Get the apps.
Too. Yeah.
There's the apps, there's YouTube videos. There's literally right now, every resource is free on the internet for that. But you have to just schedule it in your phone. Just do it. You know, just do it. And then for me, skin cancer screening, especially here in Florida, super important.
For sure.
Super important. And I don't care if you're pro SPF or against it or whatever. I don't touch people.
The ozone layer is different now. The ozone layer is different than it was even 5 years ago.
But you know, as a
SPF.
doctor, I don't argue with these people.
Yeah.
Because if I enter their belief system, I'm causing an energetic clench. You have to meet them where they are. My job as a good doctor is, you want the pill? I'm going to tell you that I don't like it, that this is going to happen. We have to screen for this, and this, and you have to commit to that.
You're talking about birth control?
Whatever, birth control, cholesterol, whatever it is, or even antihistamines. People are not ready right now to get into the deeper core issue. I respect that. You have to have the capacity, otherwise you can't heal. You can't. You have to be ready for it. In my eyes, you get the pill. But I'm going to tell you, whatever you're doing, we need to follow up, because every medication has a side effect.
Has a side effect.
And then people are being polymedicated, and it ends up in a, oh my God, like
I know
a
women.
nightmare.
My girlfriend Martha was on this podcast a few months ago. She goes, Liz, when I moved here from Brazil, these doctors put me on birth control, Xanax, Adderall. It's crazy. I've never been on any of these things. And people are like, oh, how did you get pregnant so easily? How are you so healthy? I always say, I'm like, I don't think any of this is complicated. All of these pills have side effects, and they're all Band-Aids for deeper problems.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor, but it seems pretty obvious to me that if you're using something to fix something else, you're covering up the root of the issue.
It's like the meme with the duct tape on the glass tank, you know, it's like this. And sometimes you have surpassed the threshold, then there's no other option. But before you get to that threshold, there are so many options. And also, like, people comment say, like, my doctor said my labs were normal. I'm like, show me your labs. Because normal range actually just means the average of the lab of all the people that get tested. So let's say your vitamin D was in range, right? Or your folic acid was in range.
I feel like a lot of women struggle with vitamin D, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But the thing is, look at the parameters that they had 50 years ago. They were completely different. Cholesterol is the biggest example. 300, you were a healthy guy. Like, Go ride those horses, smoke that cigarettes. Like,
Go ride those horses.
You know, like, you're
love
fine, you know, you're fine.
100%.
And now we're like, we have to get it down to 80 or 90 and like at any price. Yeah, what's the price?
What's the
You
price?
like calcium, your stomach acid is deteriorating, your muscles go in lysis, they literally break up, you get tremor, you get neurological problems. Like, yeah, that's a great win. Like, dude, no. And when you're already sick and you have arteriosclerosis and everything, you have to be cautious because otherwise you're killing yourself. But even there are protocols to partially reverse that if you're willing to do the work, but you have to have the capacity. If you don't have the capacity, if you don't stick to the dietary stuff that I give you, if you don't stick to the supplements, to the lifestyle, take the pill because you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a problem. And so most people want the
I
easy
feel like
fix.
people are, I'm assuming with you, and I'm assuming in general, and I could be wrong, I do feel like there's a cultural shift where people are like, okay, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay,
and it's
good.
interesting. So
I was hoping you say yes.
I would say people that are born after 1995, they're fully committed. They're like, okay, dude, like, I don't
Maybe
like
I should
it,
listen.
but
Yeah.
okay. So they do
Whatever.
that.
Yeah.
And then in between our millennials, I feel like there's like two groups. Either ones they're like, I don't care, because you really like, these are the ones that are just like giving in into the victim mindset and like, oh, my life has been so hard. Like, yeah, dude, we're all the same generation. We all went through the same shit. So these are those, and I also respect that. I always say, like, if you don't have capacity, I'm not going to add to the stress by telling you you're doing it wrong.
Sure.
I'm preserving what you can preserve, and then we're doing that. It's fine. And then there's the other half that's like, oh my God, I took birth control all my life. I want to get off it. Tell me how to get off it, because I want to get it in order before menopause. You know, I want to do this the right way before menopause, because I got sold to this without a need. There are women
Without a need. That's 100%. All
Yeah.
you said was something so simple. I got sold on this without a need.
Yeah.
I got sold on this without a need.
And that's for me.
Your body is supposed to bleed every month.
Yeah.
That's what your body is naturally intended to do.
And like when you have endometriosis,
It's a cleansing ritual for the body.
It kind of is, because it's also like some sort of detoxification. And but the thing is, I don't want to glorify bleeding, because I know there's millions of women that
Struggle
have
with insane periods.
insane periods.
Yeah.
And many of them, like I have endometriosis too, you know, it's like, for me, that's a lifesaver. Otherwise I couldn't function. So I tried for years. It spread through my abdomen. I had to stop. You know, I had to do something, because
So you had to get on it because
I
of
had
that.
to get back
That's
on
good
it.
to
I was
know.
off it after breastfeeding. I was completely fine. I'm pretty sure if I have more children, I'm going to be able to get off it again, because your body's in a different hormonal state. But you can push your body, even through natural remedies, into that state while you're still being stressed.
So you're basically saying with endometriosis, birth control was a massive saver
For many people,
for
it
many
can
women
be, yes.
because of the bleeding.
Yes, and not only the bleeding, we now know that these cells make their own estrogen, so it's only kind of limited how much we can influence
Is there
that.
any natural way to heal endometriosis?
Officially, no, there's not. But what I will say, you have genetic pre-existing like branding for it. And then most often it's trauma.
What about peptides? What about hypnosis healing from trauma? What about any of that?
Well, you should all the women that come to me, we look into all of that. And the thing is, like, what I found out now, like a quick hack that I might want to share if they haven't heard about it, urolithin A. Urolithin A is a bacterial compound, or like a metabolic compound that bacteria usually was making in your gut, but most people do not have that specific bacteria anymore, so they don't have the compound. But this compound is very powerful in triggering mitochondria to realize that they're not at their full potential, or they're damaged, or something's wrong. So basically, it's triggering your body to realize my mitochondria isn't good, I need to make new mitochondria, or like improve this. And so you are improving your energetic chain. And I got crazy messages. I found it while scrolling, you know, through my social media. I got a commercial like urolithin A. I'm like, nice. I always try everything on myself.
Sure.
And then it's like, okay, no harm done.
Sure.
So I ordered this. I tried for 4 days. I feel like I'm on drugs. I'm like, no brain fog, no anxiety. I feel so strong. I want to start projects. I want to make a new company. I want to do this. I'm going to call my friends. Let's do this. I'm like, oh oh my God, my Whoop tells me your HRV is 25% over your average of the last month. I'm like, what did I do differently? And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking the urolithin A. So I go on PubMed, I read all about it. Before I was just like, I wasn't that invested.
Sure.
I go on PubMed, I read the studies, I find 2 of them about endometriosis in mice and how it's actually managing to lower the endometriosis affected organs, even in abdominal endometriosis. And I'm like, what?
That's
Why
crazy.
isn't this on the news? This should be everywhere so every woman with endometriosis knows, try that.
Well, can the government make money off of it yet or no?
Probably not. Yeah, well,
This is how I feel about peptides. Peptides have healed me significantly.
Oh, really?
Significantly. And you know, you can check your markers.
Yeah.
So I scan my markers
Yeah.
to see what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
And I've never felt better in my life.
That's great.
Energy wise, looks wise.
Which ones are you using?
I'm on the copper stack.
Yeah.
NAD, of course.
Yeah.
And Sermolian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somorelin.
Samorian, yeah, for recovery and sleep. Life changing.
Yeah, but you say sleep. That's, for people that can't afford peptides. They often
Sure.
ask me, what should I do if I can't afford peptides?
Sure.
So sleep, very, very important. So my basics that everybody, I don't care what your doctor says, what your lab says, sleep is essential.
Number one.
Find out which type you are. People are so obsessed with, I have to get up at 5 a.m. for... Find out your type. If you're naturally somebody that likes to stay up a little bit more, never go against your body. If it's a bad habit, then stop it. But try to find out what's the natural time where I can feel tiredness. So the first step is get rid of all the displays in the evening. Try to sit with yourself. It's very uncomfortable.
That's why I got the
know
hatch
it's
alarm,
like-
because it forced me to put my phone in the other room
Yeah.
to charge it so I can actually be alone in my thoughts and do it like a guided meditation to sleep.
Yes.
Best $160 I've ever spent.
But
by the way.
even people, sometimes they don't want to do it. They don't have
wanna
the
do it.
capacity. But just sit with yourself.
Just sit.
Just sit with yourself. Draw, read something. I don't care what you do. Just learn to sit with yourself and try to feel when you're tired. Then the thing is physical exercise, because if you are somebody that's like, oh, I'm not tired in the evening, then your strain wasn't enough on the day. So when you've been just sitting on a desk and has been your occupation, go for a walk in the evening. And I also recommend that to everyone, because the spectrum of the light in the evening is so healing. It's preparing your body. It's changing your melatonin cycle. Your circadian rhythm gets aligned with actually where you're living at. And that's a good thing. So you're going to be tired. Take your magnesium. People are short on magnesium.
I love magnesium.
Oh my God, they're so short on magnesium. I love magnesium glycinate and threonate. Threonate is very expensive,
I've been putting
but
magnesium in my son's drink at night with dinner.
that's perfect.
I figured you would like that.
Yes, and you don't be
And
scared
it's like
about
strawberry
that.
lemonade
people are
flavor.
like, kids don't need supplements. Really? Why?
Why not?
Like, what is
Why
going
not?
on? Like,
they can't eat
need
perfectly
it.
all the time.
And they have such high metabolism. They have such
Oh, yeah.
stressful lives. Can we please acknowledge how stressful school is for kids?
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
We're so aligned in our thought process. It's so great.
It's like, and then the magnesium. So in the morning, I take glycinate when I have a stressful day, when I feel like, ooh, I even take it at noon. I try to get at least 300 milligrams of magnesium a day. Elemental.
Oh, wow. I'm definitely not doing that.
Don't be scared of it. Worst
I
case,
thought it
you
was
get
just
diarrhea.
at night. I thought it was just like a nighttime thing.
No. I take it first thing in the morning. The glycinate. It depends on what you go.
What brand?
Um,
And how? What pill? Powder?
I take the pill because I'm like,
Okay, just quick, easy. Yep.
done.
Yep.
I will look it out for you. I will.
Yeah.
I can tell
like,
everybody.
I selfishly wanna know.
I'm gonna find it out for you
Yeah.
which one I'm taking, because I also switch brands. I also recommend people switch brands because I don't trust labs. So if you have supplements that might be contaminated, you keep taking stuff that might be contaminated with heavy metals or other stuff.
I heard the brand
So-
Pure is really good.
Yes, it's pure. Thank you.
Yep.
But I still
figured you would
swap
know
from
that.
time to time.
Yeah.
Because I just want to be on the safe side.
Sure.
I'm a bit paranoid about this.
Sure.
Don't trust no one.
Same thing with peptides. I make sure that it's third party tested.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm
You
very.
have
You
to.
have to be crazy
Yeah.
about that. You can't be taking stuff and injecting yourself and
Yeah.
not knowing what's going on.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And then vitamin D.
Yeah.
So important.
For women, for sure.
And don't go for
I think
like,
every woman is
I'm
like
at
vitamin
40,
D deficient.
like, oh, it's fine. No, go for 60 at least. If
and
you have
what do you
other-
get from taking more vitamin D? Explain to everyone.
Well, vitamin D is like a lock for your genetic system. People think it's a vitamin, but actually it's a hormone-like substance. So it's literally the key for turning on your genetics in your core of your cells. So you need your thyroid hormone receptor and your thyroid hormones and your vitamin D, and they go together, and they're this magical pair of turning on all the like DNA, all the genes that you need to fully function.
Yeah, that's what I've always struggled with. I think the reason I was always thin was I have hyperthyroid.
Yes.
So I have to always make sure that it's
At
good. That's my
level,
supplement needs is thyroid.
And the thing is, like, you use it up so much when you're stressed and people don't realize it. And then you turn off all these genes that are super important for hormonal balance, even for keeping the thyroid healthy. It's all gripping into each other. And a million other genes for your immune system, for your defense, for your abdominal like system, everything in there. It's all vitamin D dependent. So when you're low on vitamin D, you literally locked the room where all the good stuff is in.
Yeah.
So you need to get that up. And of course you have to, at some point you have to check for calcium levels, but that's why I recommend go to somebody, doctor, provider, whoever it is that knows how all these things work together, and never look at an isolated system. So, and then omega-3s.
Yes.
Eating fish is bad advice.
Really?
I eat fish, but
Sardines, I've been incorporating a lot.
sardines is perfect, but you know, many people are on the salmon diet. And then you're just poisoning yourself with
The
heavy
mercury,
metals.
yeah, the heavy metals. It's too much. Everything in balance.
Everything in balance. And if you can take like omega-3 from algae
Have
or
you
something.
heard of the brand Seatopia?
Yes, I heard about
They
it.
test for mercury. They just sent me a bunch of
Yes,
stuff, and I really
that's
like their
amazing.
ethos.
Yes.
I should connect you with them.
And that's what I also go for in my private life for my daughter. If I go eat out sushi, for example, I drink Pectic Cleanse after. That's like, you know, it's just binding it and like not store it in my body, just get rid of it.
Big fan of that.
Because you have to enjoy life too. Like you can't be orthorexic and you can't be controlling.
sure.
The joy is the most healing thing in the world. So, but be aware of it.
Be conscious of it, yeah.
So it's magnesium, it's vitamin D, it's omega-3, and then this is already a stack where I'm like, this is the basics, but if it's all you can afford, this is what I would go for.
Say it one more time.
Magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3. Because omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, you need it for your brain. I give it to my daughter too, because literally these chains are part of the cells of our nervous system.
She's taking a pill at 9? Because my son
No,
will not.
I have the oil, and then I mix it in like a good night drink.
Oh, love.
With magnesium.
So smart.
And we made it a ritual, and I let her do it because if you let kids do stuff, it increases compliance.
Yeah.
I hate that word, but in medical terms, we talk
Yeah.
about compliance.
My son has like a checklist every night. He's
very
crazy
Montessori.
about
That's
it.
amazing.
He loves it.
Yeah, that's routines, and that gives security. And then it's also signal to the brain like, oh, I'm shutting down. That's fine. I can relax and let go. And these are essential. And then it's a non-supplement. Or vitamin C is also something. Like if you can afford it, go for a
Okay,
good
so
vitamin
vitamin
C.
D, omega,
Yeah, magnesium
magnesium,
and vitamin C.
if you can.
If you can.
4 pills a day or 4 powders or whatever.
However you
Is
do
there,
it.
there should be a cocktail of all 4 in a powder or pill form, but I don't think there is.
There's so many things out there, and then there's always some sweetening agent in it, and it drives me
yeah.
nuts. You know, like
Yeah.
it drives me crazy. Or
Yeah.
some food color. I'm like, dude, what? I don't get it. Who's making these things? Like, and then I think releasing the stress. So you said meditation, wind down, whatever. Like find a guided, whatever it is, in the evening to wind down with your kid. If you're a mom and dad, with your kid.
For sure.
It's so nice. And kids borrow the grown-ups nervous system. I don't know if you heard about this, but that's why kids want to sleep in our bed, because their nervous system is not fully developed yet. So they co-regulate with us. They're not needy. They're not like brats. They need to co-regulate. So
I always let my baby sleep in my bed. I still do sometimes.
You know,
I try not
it's
to
like-
every night, but I know he loves it and I'm not going to have that forever. And it's very American to say, no, the kid has to sleep
Yeah.
away from the parent.
and they
mean,
need
we also
Xanax
grew up
when
like
they're grown up.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
You change
I
the
got
brain
yelled at a lot.
metabolism.
The
It's like-
Ashkenazi side of my family was not down for me co-sleeping. The Sephardi side was.
Yeah. Good, you got the balance. You know,
100%. 100%.
and-
The Ashkenazis, the academia, and the Sephardi's, the warmth and the.
But studies actually show that you're academically better if you co-regulate it with your parent.
Really?
It improves school
Of course it does.
performance.
It makes the child feel
everything.
nurtured.
Yes, and
Does
it's,
your baby, not a baby, but does your 9-year-old still want to sleep with you?
sometimes she
Yeah,
does,
it's
and
cute.
she's like, Mom, I had a really hard day. I'm like, you don't need to explain yourself. Come in. And
Delicious.
she's like snuggling
Delicious.
in. And you know, because I do so much nervous system work, she knows all these tools. So when we lived in Paris. So when she first came there, the teacher said, oh, she got very angry today, but then she stepped aside and she did body tapping and breath work, and we just let her do it.
Baby.
And then she came back and she's like, okay, I'm ready for people again.
I love her.
And I laughed so hard. And I was so proud.
I respect
I was so
that.
proud.
I make my 6-year-old every Saturday. He vacuums the whole house. He does prayers and he does a 5-minute ab routine. And people are like, don't you think that's crazy? I said, he just got accepted into the gifted program.
Yeah.
Only 5 to 15% of kids do. So you
Yeah.
tell me if it's too much.
Yeah.
He's happy. He's relaxed. He's got routines and he thrives.
Yes. And intelligence is also part capacity to grow. And if your child's also on survival, there's no capacity to grow. They just manage day by day.
Ugh.
And it's always like, I don't want to add this to the mom stress, because now moms might hear this and they're like, oh my God, is it my fault my kid is in this situation? Like, oh, it has ADD, or my kid has a learning problem or something. What should I do? The first thing is, calm down, mama, because the calmer you are, the calmer your kid is going to be. And as I say, co-regulate, you not like dependency and trauma bonding, but in a way that you both are healthy individuals. But it's okay to co-regulate in both directions.
Beautiful.
And that's what kids also need to learn. So I don't know why this isn't a school subject, like health, life, whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah.
But it should be, and it would be a huge part of prevention, because if every kid would grow up like this, and if you would protect kids' boundaries and would respect their resources and would focus a little bit more on that and less on fast. Like in the United States, is like
everything's quick.
Then,
speaking of that, I actually have a selfish question when it comes
Yeah.
to children. My son has asthma,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very, very, very on top of health, wellness.
Yeah.
It's really like a big thing in my home, like yours. I feel like a lot of women lately have been complaining about air quality. I got the air doctor,
Yes.
for my home, etc. I don't feel like there's a solution to asthma besides reducing allergens, cleansing products, perfumes. I'm struggling with it.
I totally understand, and many people have the same problem. Did you do a GI map?
No.
I would start there. Did he have strep when he was like under 3?
Yes.
Did he get antibiotics?
Yes.
So you basically nuked his GI tract. Totally reasonable,
But
because
fixable.
That has to be done. But then after, you have to track that, and most.
How do I get a GI just to...
It's a GI map. I can connect you. It's a test that's really cool in the United States. It's called GI map, and it basically tests for all those different strains of bacteria. And we know in research that there are certain strains we want to have there.
Yeah.
And there's targeted supplements that can reintroduce them.
Oh, that's like so good to hear, because I'm up every night like freaking out because he's so healthy and he's so smart and bright, and every time he gets sick the cough lingers for like months. It's crazy, and it's so disheartening.
And it's all in the atopic circle of disease, like eczema, asthma, allergic disease, allergic rhinitis. All these things, they all go back to nervous system, immune system that has a mismatch in reaction. So many people permanently dose cortisone, or they are on antihistamines, but we also know that this is really long-term side effects.
Yeah.
So
I had a doctor say he has asthma, one of his lungs has to be taken out. I said, I'm not removing my baby's body part. I intuitively knew that was crazy.
Yeah.
Even my ex-husband was like, I don't think that's right. And I was like, no, it's not. No.
And you want to be ahead of the damage, because like long-term asthma is really damaging
Damage
the lungs.
to the lungs.
Yeah, it's going to structurally change them. But also the
I
cortisone.
changed all my cleaning products. I'm only wearing non-toxic perfume.
Are there any pets in the house? That's always my
No
first
pets.
question. No pets.
No,
So
not in mine. My ex-husband does.
You have to look into that. Allergy testing, not only blood tests.
I did that. I did the stabbing of
Yeah,
the
that's
allergens.
good.
He didn't have any.
He didn't have any.
Nothing.
Okay, then TH1, TH2 ratio is also a test that you have to do, like look how his T cells are working.
So again, everything comes back to
Yeah.
testing.
Testing. Total IgE, for example, very important, like how high is his IgE titer. And then find the chronic inflammation that is driving the immune system override, because he's overreacting to normal things.
That's what ChatGPT said.
Yeah.
It's an overreaction. Like the slightest thing could trigger it.
Yes, exactly. But the good thing is you already live in Miami. So being at the seaside is very important. You could try saline sauna. I had patients with great results in saline sauna. So basically it's like, it's not as hot as a steam room. It's kind of warm and the whole room is filled with salt. And what it does, it's just, you are inhaling the salt and it's enriching the mucus in your lungs with salt. And even by that, it's changing how surfactant reacts, how open the lungs are. And that's a good way to deal with it. But it all in the end comes, for me, the chain of had strep, got antibiotics, never fully recovered, develops autoimmune reactions, which asthma is atopic. It's like, it's not autoimmune, but it's an overreaction of the immune system. And also test for CMV if there's a chronic infection. No, CMV is like mono. Did he maybe have mono? It was a part of the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
So this is what I do my detective work and where I put the pieces together to really find the root cause.
Can I bring him to you?
Yeah, of course.
I'm like,
No
this
problem.
is amazing. I get a gorgeous, smart doctor that lives close to me who's also Jewish. I'm like, this is great. I love this podcast.
My daughter had these problems because my whole family, we have severe asthma and all these things. My grandma actually died from COPD.
What's that?
And that's like a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
I've never even heard of that.
But she had it also from smoking. She was a chain smoker and she loved smoking.
Yeah.
So it was very hard.
And she was probably one of those ones that like, I'm not giving it up.
Exactly.
I don't care. Yeah.
And her mother died from it, actually. You know, you survive the war and then you end up with a chronic illness. But she had asthma. Like her mother had real asthma. She didn't smoke, but she had asthma. And so there's a huge genetical compound in it. But
that's not in my
family. We have
family.
modern science now.
Yeah. I'm like, no one struggled with asthma in my family.
Like for my daughter, I did all the preventive things. I breastfed her as long as I could. All like
that
not
I
creepy
couldn't
long,
I couldn't
but-
go past a month. I was falling apart. But if you can, that is definitely the goal.
Yes, but I always tell everyone, respect yourself too. If it's awkward for you, if you're done, if you're annoyed by it, if you start resenting your child because you're doing it, stop.
Yeah.
That's like, it's fine. You do
but
your
it
job.
is the healthier option. It's biologically designed to help the child.
That they get so much valid information in the breast milk that's teaching the body stuff. They have compounds, they have these short chain like carb compounds that give information to the body. That's very valuable.
Yeah.
But we can supplement kind of, you can supplement colostrum. You have so many options right now.
Yeah, I bought some like fancy European brand at the time and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I do wish I went a little longer.
No,
for sure.
never, you know, we're working with what we have now.
Yeah.
Stop it. Bad old
it
energy.
Is what it is.
It is what it
happened.
is. It happened. We're not judging that. We did the best that we could at
Not
the
the
time
mom
that
guilt
we did
being
it.
like, he has asthma because I didn't.
No,
but it
that's
is
not how
what it
works.
is, and we
Yes.
find a solution and we move forward.
It's like people are like, oh no, but he had strep. It's like, yeah, you don't want to have panda. You don't want to have your kid to have a crazy mental illness because they had strep.
Sure.
You know, so you have to do something about it. And so I'm like, stop it right now.
For sure.
Stop the guilt. Stop the what if. It doesn't matter.
Done.
It's done.
Yeah.
So what do we do now? And so that's the point where you're like, you can actually do so much additionally to what the doctors tell you and getting rid of all those allergens, even though the test didn't show it, you know. Maybe try get rid of the pets at your ex-husband's house, even just for the time that he's there, full clean, full everything, and see how it goes. I got rid of all the allergens for my daughter because she started to have pseudocroup. I don't know if you heard that. That's like hyperreactive alveolary system when they get a virus. So I'm a doctor and I know all of this. My daughter was first very sick in her first winter and I was like, oh my God, she's suffocating. She's suffocating. Like in the middle of the night, in minutes. I'm like, oh my God, she's suffocating. So I called my best friend who is an intensive care specialized doctor for children in Heidelberg in the university clinic. And she was working and awake. And I was like, Katli, what am I going to do? My baby's dying. I was full mom. So you're a doctor. And she's like, let me hear her. And she's like, that's a pseudocroup. And I was like, what? My kid has a pseudocroup? You know, you're not thinking of it because bad stuff never happens to you, right? So, and then they were like, yes, you need this and adrenaline and this, and you need to call the ambulance. And I was like, whoa. This is going to traumatize me. This is going to traumatize the baby. And I was like, I don't know. I want to do this differently. So I was very intuitive about how I treated that. Luckily, and I was like, okay, 5 more minutes. If it's not better in 5 minutes, I'm gonna call the ambulance. Like, there's no way around it. And then actually I found so many techniques and little things online and in studies that I implemented in dealing with this. So now when she has a cold or anything, we go with the protocol. We start with a popsicle. We do the arugula. She doesn't like it, but I make like a smoothie because it has nitric oxygen releaser compounds in it. So it's going to help with like blood flow and all of this.
Tea, honey.
Yeah,
all the things.
And we start all these things like cold air, and we're not doing the moist hot air because that didn't do anything for us. So we have our protocol, and we never ever, knock on wood, had to call the ambulance. I didn't have to traumatize her, and it takes a lot to commit to that, but there's always a way. So when people now say, my kids had asthma, I tried everything. I'm like, what did you try? And they're like, yeah, cortisol and cortisone and like antihistamines. I'm like,
Band-Aid.
yeah, but that's not.
And that's going to cause other issues.
And then I'm like, you have to get rid of the dog. And they're like, no, we love the dog. And I was like, I know, but
your kid's a priority.
You're polymedicating your kid at the cost of long-term, lifelong damage because of you want to keep the dog. And these are very uncomfortable discussions. And
yes.
We're circling back to the beginning, like you don't want to hear what I'm going to tell you. But deep down, that this is the truth you have to face. It doesn't matter if it's the pap smear, if it's getting rid of the dog, if it's stopping the smoking, stopping the vaping, stopping whatever it is. The readiness to commit to that is essential. Mm-hmm. And we can do the best for our kids, but also probably for him, divorced kid, look into nervous system work.
Yeah, I've been doing that, the belly breaths at night.
Also the
always
somatic
reading
release,
before he goes to sleep. Yep.
A very nice thing that I like for regulating kids, I call it assembling the robot. It's super for kids that are very agitated at night or even during the day when they got the zoomies and they're jumping on the couch and freaking out, and you're like, what the heck is happening? You're like, oh my God. Ooh, get the tranquilizer gun, you know?
Right?
You're like, whoa, wild animals. I have a lot of girlfriends with sons.
Yeah.
Like they have like 3 sons.
Yeah.
They're blessed with 3 sons.
Yeah.
So they're like, help me. So we assemble the robot, and what you do is like you make it a game. You're like, oh, did you know? Like, let's play a game. I'm the assembler, I'm a technician, and you're the robot. And then they're like, mommy's playing a game. They already like that because I don't usually play these games,
yeah.
so but I don't know about others. But so what you do is basically you give the body proprioception. Proprioception means you show the body where it is in space and how the joints are positioned, and you give them pressure. It is a nervous system regulation work that's signaling back to the brain valid information. And why are you anxious and hyperactive? Because brain needs information. It wants to know, where am I in space? Am I safe? Is this a good situation? I don't know. The more information your brain gets, the calmer it will be. Sometimes this connection cuts, and then they are like without input, and the brain goes crazy. So what you do is like you start in the feet, you start with the toes, you're like, oh, look at these toes, they need to be reassembled. So you pull them and you chip them in. You're like cluck, cluck with every toe, and then you wiggle them, you turn them a little bit, you move them, and then you also push them in. And then in the bigger joints, you also want to take the foot and the ankle, and you want to push it together, and you with slight pressure, you move it a little bit, and then you go to the bigger joints. When you're at the hip, you start with the hands until you're at the shoulders and the hip, and then you gently go around the neck, and you hold them a little bit like they were a baby, just so you suspend them. Even if it's a big kid, it still works. You can make them sit in your lap, and you just hold their head for a little while, and you will see the kid, you're done, and you're like, you're a good robot now. And then you're like, go shake it out. How does it feel? And they're like, oh, that's nice. And suddenly they're calm. Suddenly they sit down and do their homework, or they go to sleep. You just don't talk about it. You're just like, beautiful. I think the robot can read a book now. And they're like, you know what? Actually, I like to read a book. Because your brain got so much information about proprioception. Like, I'm still there. I'm in my body. Everything's fine. I can feel myself. I'm a human soul in a physical body. I have toes, I have a knee, everything's there. You got touched. It's giving you oxytocin as well. You're bonding, and then suddenly you have a calm kid, and people are like, I tried that. Which work is that? And it's just nervous system work, because the fascia holds information. All these little nerve endings, they hold so much information, and they're overstimulated all day, so they tune that down. But it's very important that the brain gets this information. It's a very primitive way of information input, but you need it, and it works for grown-ups as as well. If
I
you have a
love
partner
this.
that can do that for you, if you're not the massage guy, if you're not
Yeah.
if you're not the type like don't touch me, if you're this kind of person, try this.
Okay. 3 tips to wrap it up for a woman who has no idea where to start with health and wellness. What are your 3 top tips?
My 3 top tips is improve sleep.
Always.
That's the first one. You're going to have crazy capacity when you're actually fully recovered. It's going to change your life.
Yeah.
But you have to commit to it.
Sleep.
Sleep. Then the supplement stack we talked about, the 3 or 4.
Vitamin C, magnesium,
Omega-3,
and
vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
This would be perfect. If you can afford this, if you can make that happen, that would be amazing. And then actually, joy. Find one thing that gives you joy. It can always be a different one. Like, because we're so organized and everything in our lives is so strategic that the senseless joy with no purpose, with no intention, with, just watercolor. Buy beads online and make a bracelet. Do something
To
that
bring you joy.
just to enjoy it.
I love this.
Make a lemon cake. Make a key lime pie if you've never done one. Just do something and be bad at it, be goofy at it, enjoy the process of it, or give it up or like, that was a bad idea. But laugh about it, laugh it off. The joy is so essential in healing because joy is literally medicine. It's the thing that distinguishes us from any other living thing, is that humans have
Joy.
simcha.
Simcha.
That you have the joy for life. That's healing. And that's
so
free.
Amazing. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram. My handle is Dr. Med Molnar, very German. And that's also one thing. I try to focus on one thing. So you can find me there.
Beautiful.
And I share my impressions and knowledge and chaos.
Thank you so much for being here. This was so knowledgeable.
Thank
And
you
I'm
for
so glad that I
having me.
can go to you now. I'm like, this is perfect. I got it built in
That's so
everything. I
nice.
didn't even expect that. So thank you for being here. You're so lovely.
Thank you for having me and giving me a voice.
Of course.